former mayor of New York City, one of America's legendary top prosecutors, so much federal experience. Of course, he worked closely with President Trump. Good to see you, sir. Your initial thoughts about the news tonight?
Well, this is a very, very sad night, Greg. Very, very sad. It says to me, it's kind of the final straw that we just no longer have a justice system that's equal and fair. We have these allegations of massive bribes to Joe Biden. I mean, I've seen them, I know them, I've heard them on tape. To me, it's astounding. And the FBI has been investigating these for 4 years and done nothing. Never did a search warrant, never interviewed a witness. And now they're taking a document dispute and trying to make it into a federal crime. I mean, there's no comparison between the $5 million bribe and a document dispute, the $31 million from China and the document dispute. It's ridiculous. I mean, we're a banana republic and a fascist country if we do things like this and let them get away with it.
Yeah. No, it's ludicrous. It's heartbreaking. Although, you know what? We've been through this before, and he survives it. Nobody can survive it better than him. I believe he has to present himself in a Miami federal courtroom on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. What is that going to look like? Will he technically be arrested, as I guess he was technically arrested here in Manhattan?
I almost don't want to say anything for fear of they're trying to, put me in jail. No matter what I say. I mean, the American people will reject this. The American people, except for the ones that have been brainwashed, and unfortunately, there are a fair number that have been, but people who have retained their common sense, I mean, exactly how many times can they frame Trump and you don't realize what scoundrels they are, how crooked they are, and how this Biden regime has sold out to China. And the reason they're afraid of Trump, there are a lot of reasons, but one of the main ones is he's the only one that's ever stood up to China.
Here's Joe Biden. Oh, by the way, they found all kinds of documents in his house, in his own house, going all the way back to 1974. But at this point, the public doesn't know that. And here he is blasting it as blasting President Trump. Take a look.
When you saw the photograph of the top secret documents laid out on the floor at Mar-a-Lago, what did you think to yourself, looking at that image?
How that could possibly happen, how anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that, I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
How is it that he's off the hook? They found classified documents in his house by his own admission going all the way back to 1974. As a U.S. Senator, he had no business bringing home classified documents. How is it? Where's the explanation there?
There's no explanation, and none is asked, because he's being protected by a corrupt media. I mean, he sent some of the documents to Chinatown. He sent it to an institute funded by the Red Chinese. He had them exposed in his garage, where an associate of the chief spy of China passed them for about 35 straight days. There's a document written by his son, Hunter Biden, which seems like a plagiarism of a government secret document that sounds an awful lot like Hunter got his hands on some of these. We certainly can't rule that out. And the documents in Trump's hands had no such jeopardy. They can't find a single harm done to America. I can find 20 with Biden. It's a no harm, no foul dispute over the Presidential Record Act that has no criminal penalties by an archivist who actually hates Trump.
Well, they're going to try to up it to espionage, something under the Espionage Act, and that is a scary word. So this is, the Presidential Records Act is not criminal. I get that, but apparently they're going to up this to espionage.
Where's the espionage, though, Greg? There were no Chinese involved in this. The Chinese didn't give $31 million to the Trump family.
No, I mean, they made
on the other side.
they made a federal case out of it. They made a mountain out of a molehill. That has been known to happen with the federal government. You say, though, that the American people will not accept it. I don't accept it. You don't accept it. Portions of conservative media accept it. Don't accept it. But they blow us off. They just keep going.
They do, but I think an awful lot of people who are just pure common sense people can see through the brainwashing, and they understand we have a president who's owned lock, stock, and barrel by the Red Chinese. Let's not make any bones about it. They own him. They didn't pay him that money for nothing. The Chinese communists are not stupid. They don't give you $31 million to buy a drug addict. They give you $31 million to buy a country, and they did.
So listen,
they bought the integrity of Joe Biden, which is pretty easy to buy. A lot of other people have bought it over 30 years. And his son tells you as much in his own written words on the hard drive that's sitting 30 yards from me.
The legal community has made it exceptionally hard to be a lawyer for President Trump. You know that more than anyone else. How much pressure are they exerting? You know, there is a lot of turnover on Donald Trump's legal team. I understand, but I don't think people understand that. How much pressure these people are under. They investigate the lawyers. They try to compromise the lawyers, and nobody wants to touch this case at a certain point.
Well, because in the Democrat cities, the bar associations are no better than the crooked Democrats. They're functionaries of them. They do business with them. I mean, can you imagine? I'm suspended because I'm in danger of creating a riot when a federal judge dismissed me from that case, saying there was no evidence of that. And the judge happens to be a judge appointed by Obama. But the Bar Association keeps me suspended.
You know, this is where it gets very scary. I keep hearing we can never have a January 6th again. There can never, ever be a January 6th again. I don't want another January 6th again.
Of course, I don't either.
Have more
it has
cops,
nothing to do with it.
Have more cops there. No, but when they say that, I think they're trying to delegitimize any question about any election, about election integrity. If you start questioning elections, it'll lead to a riot, that kind of thing.
And they wanted to get rid of me, both as a lawyer, because I was one of his most effective lawyers. Remember, I changed the whole impression of Mueller and the Mueller Commission. Before I came in, he was at about 36%. And by the time I left, we had beaten the living daylights out of Mueller. He didn't even know where the hell he was at the hearing.
And that Mueller report
And then
ultimately,
on television, I've been one of his most effective spokespersons. And they banned me from television.
Well,
Fox won't put me on.
You're also one of the most effective mayors and effective Americans in the history of this country. Mr. Mayor, we thank you once again. Rudy Giuliani, thank you, sir.
But they're not going to stop me, Greg. I just get tougher.
I know they won't. You're one tough guy and a great man. Thank you, sir. To be continued, and we'll be right back.